a lot of insurance agents like to get into other industries. So for any entrepreneur that's looking to get into a new industry and perhaps just buy a business, what are some things to look for, especially in this day and age?
Well, the question is, why would they want to buy a business? What sort of business do they want? Are they just looking to make a lot of money and not do any work? Get in line. Everybody is trying to do that. They think they're the smartest guy in the world. You know what? No one's ever thought of this. I could buy a company and not pay a lot for it, but make a lot of money and not have to do any work. Everybody has that same idea. Okay, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to work really hard. So you want to figure out, what am I looking to do? What do I like to do? Why do I want to make an acquisition? Is it just to diversify my holdings, or and there's no right or wrong, but you have to look inward and figure out why you want to buy this company. And then the next thing you have to realize is, when you buy a company or try to buy a company, acquisition work, in my view, is divided into three main buckets: search, negotiate, and finance. Let's take those in reverse order. Finance is usually the easiest. You can get money, you have money. So money is usually not the issue. Negotiating, that's the fun part of putting the deals together. That's what I like the best. The most difficult of this acquisition is the search. I call it brain damage work. It is terrible, terrible work. Calling up business owners, hey, I've got money and I want to buy your company. They hear this all day long. And so trying to find a good company, because if you do talk to somebody that wants to sell a business, they probably have some sort of problem. Yeah, I'd love to sell it to you. It's probably the FBI is knocking on his door for some sort of ghost payroll. So why are they talking to you? So you want to understand that. So trying to find a good company for sale and an owner who's reasonable, because if you don't have to sell, if you love what you're doing and you make good money and someone calls you up, I want to buy your company, what am I going to do with myself? I got plenty of money. I make good money from this thing. You couldn't offer that person enough money. That puts some added pressure on simply trying to find good companies to buy.
Yeah, makes sense. What about, there's so many baby boomers that, businesses that are going to be closing here or just moving on or whatever.
They've been saying that for 20 years.
Yeah. But you see less and less buyers. So it just seems like there's going to be a lot more inventory than buyers. What are some ways to get in front of them that you see?
Yeah. How do you, if you want to buy a company, that's a great question. And you just can't say, I've got money and I want to buy you. You've got to have something else and come up with a thesis. That's one of the things that we've used. What's a thesis? Something other than saying, I got money and I want to buy you. So we've got a client and they see something in the industry, and let me give you a couple ideas. Hey, why don't we get together? I'll buy you lunch, or we can talk on the phone, or take you golfing and talk about this. I'd like to talk to you because you, business owner, are an expert. Let me know if my client or my notion of what's going on specifically in your business holds water. So if you can talk about something else and have something useful, it's a philosophy that I have, which is offer something. Stop asking. The whole world is asking, right? You got to offer something. And so if you couch your approach in an offer, sincere offer, you have a greater chance that somebody will engage you in a discussion. And then if you're artful enough and creative enough and quick enough, maybe you can steer that conversation into what that person wants to do. And then maybe you're having a real discussion about acquiring the company. But it's far more difficult than it sounds like that. It's easier said than done.
I love it. Going back to the marketing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Bingo. I was golfing a few years ago here in suburban Chicago, and executive at one of the banks around here I know took a couple people out to his country club, nice country club out in the suburbs. And he says, Bill, here's the guy you're going to be playing with. It was a former PE guy. He was on his own. He was looking to buy a company. And I knew where this conversation was going. So I'm driving the cart, get to know him a little bit, wait a couple holes. And I say, so you want to buy a company? How's it going? And he just kind of shrunk like this. And he said, it's a lot more difficult than I thought. And because he was used to, the people like me calling him and saying, here's a one pager on this company. Are you interested in looking at this? So he didn't know what to do. This guy had a membership at Medina, which is a high-end fancy country club here. Everybody wants to play. They sometimes have PGA events there, so it's a fancy thing. And I said, how many business owners have you invited and taken out golfing at your fancy country club? And he laughed at me. Why would I want to do something like that? I said, you got a golden ticket, man. You call up enough business owners, you have a thesis, something to talk about. If you segue, hey, do you golf? Okay, not everyone's going to take you up on this, but if you do this enough, maybe you get a few people, you take golfing and you get to know them in a social situation, not just business over the phone. And if you're artful enough, maybe you can develop that rapport, that relationship. What are you doing with the company? And maybe that leads to you being able to acquire the company. You've got to do creative things like that, but it sounds like work. That's the main reason people don't do things. It sounds like work. Why would I want to do it?
Work, hanging out at the golf course, meeting people.
That's I've got clients on the golf course. It's tough work, guys. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
Someone has to.
Seriously, if you want to do what I do, you learn to play golf, because there are two types of people in the world: those who can golf and those who can't. And
Yeah.
the further you get in your career, I'm sorry if you guys don't play golf, but you don't want to be the guy that says, no, sorry, I don't play golf. Even if you're not good, as long as you know the etiquette and you keep pace. Because the most important score in golf, people always think it's writing 75 or 90 or whatever you get. The most important score, most important number in golf is time, because you want to play, but you don't want to spend all day. So you want to get done as quickly as possible, probably because it's torture.
Right.
So if you know how to play and you can play quickly and you fix your ball marks and you know all that etiquette, you are in the club, man, because you know how to golf. Even if you have a horrendous score, you know, at least you look like you know what you're doing. So I implore anybody who wants to be in business in advance, learn to play golf.
All you need to do is bring 90 balls and just every time that you hit one, just go up 200 yards and drop one.
Yeah,
and you'll be good.